r/AskReddit. For the few that have actually read any terms and conditions, what sneaky things have you found? A job schedule app my company uses requires you to log in using the company email. To set this up on your phone, you have to give your company the rights to erase the contents of your phone remotely, probably in case you become a threat to the company. No thanks. IDK if this is super surprising, but I read the entire lease for my first apartment and apparently, I couldn't get out of my lease even if I died. Might be so they have a claim against your estate for the remainder of the rent for the year. If so, you should be fully entitled to stay in the apartment for the remainder of your lease, decomposing as bodies do. After reading through all the comments here, I see no one has mentioned how useful this tip can be. If you're downloading some shady software, scroll through the entire TOS and find any check boxes, then uncheck them. Usually for things like this. That's how various programs and malware will end up being downloaded without you understanding how, which is what will usually happen with people who are especially young or especially old. There will be something written in there like you agree that you would like to install Mega Super Saver Search Plus to your PC and set it as your default search engine with a pre-checked box next to it, leading to a lot of easily avoided problems. So yeah, scroll through and uncheck boxes when you're downloading something weird. You don't even need to read the terms, just be aware what could be tucked away inside them. Wanted to sign my kid up for cheerleading. Sat there and read the terms and agreement. Said something along the lines of we are not responsible for any accidents that occur in the transportation of your child. My husband lost his brother in a school transportation accident and they initially tried to avoid the blame. So naturally that line gave us the heebie-jeebies and we just left. Turns out they were just a shady company all around. She now does cheer through her school. Amazon's or service terms contain a clause pertaining to a zombie apocalypse. No, really. However, this restriction will not apply in the event of the occurrence. Certified by the United States Centers for Disease Control or successor body, of a widespread viral infection transmitted via bites or contact with bodily fluids that causes human corpses to reanimate and seek to consume living human flesh, blood, brain or nerve tissue and is likely to result in the fall of organized civilization. DeviantArt's TOS is basically a contract allowing them to print, reproduce, and profit from your art, if they so choose, without needing your permission or consent. Usually this takes the form of ads or contests, where they'll be used in public displays. If you post works that show a high level of technical skill, then you need to either sign it or use a big ol' watermark. As someone who had to get a privacy policy and read the thing, as far as I know I'm not allowed to use my own service, according to the legal agreement I got with myself and agreed to. In case I do know that I access the service against what's written in the privacy policy, I should contact myself by email letting me know that so I can erase any private data I got on myself. If I refuse to erase the data, I think I can sue myself. Send help. On Amazon, anytime they want they can take away from me the books that I've bought on Kindle Store. It's the same with Steam games, but I hope that everyone who uses Steam was already aware of this. Edit: since this is gaining traction, here's the specific line. The content and services are licensed, not sold. Your license confers no title or ownership in the content and services. This line isn't in the agreement to bully people because that would cost them their platform really quickly. It's in there in case they shut down or decide to ban you. But it's still in there. You don't own your Steam library. I was stoned and downloaded a mobile game some years ago and decided to read the terms and conditions. It was like 20 pages and mostly had to do with privacy and microtransaction stuff. In the back half a paragraph was the lyrics to Tattoos Africa. A while ago, 2011, there was a scam work from home service widely advertised all over Facebook and other places, promising enormous paychecks and a free trial. It was an opt-out subscription service as you might expect. Curious as to how the scam worked, I looked at their T&cs. There was a clause in there requiring you to pay $10,000 in compensation to the company if you filed a chargeback against their fees. Whilst that would never stand up in court, dealing with debt collectors who might conveniently offer to settle for a mere $3,000 would be all sorts of hell. I remember a story years ago about this guy applying for a loan or credit card from his bank but asked to take the documents home and read over them and send them back a signed copy. He added clauses in the T&cs that the bank had to pay him, and if they wanted out of the contract they had to pay him some huge exit fee. Signed the amended one and sent it back to them, and they agreed to it without reading it. Not sure how true it is though. In the hiring contract for the last company I worked for, there was a line buried on page like 22 that said if you email a certain email address on your first day saying you saw the line, you'd get a bonus day of PTO for the year. I had a Victoria's Secret coupon that said Canadians are required to pass a math question or test in order to be eligible for the discount. I think I still have it at my desk. My job in part is writing terms and conditions, agreements, and disclosures for the bank I work at, so I actually do read a lot of T&cs in homage to the amount of time my colleagues in the field put into writing 18 pages of shit no one but examiners read. The Canadian math requirement is the strangest I've ever seen. If you want to take Huawei to court, you have to take them to court in China. What they don't tell you is that it's near impossible for a foreigner to win a court case in China. The dev team of the video game Factorio is explicit not responsible if you stay awake all night long playing Factorio and can't go to school work in the morning. WhatsApp, when it went full Facebook 4 years after purchase, sent out an Android update. The update said it was just adding the ability to give group chats a subheading. What it was actually doing was giving Facebook permission to take information. This option was enabled by default, of course it was, and you had only 3 months to notice this had happened before the option to opt out was disabled. I was late noticing this, but when I read the terms and conditions, the last line said something along the lines of, even if you opt out, Facebook and the Facebook family of companies will still take the data for training purposes. I don't know if they changed it, but when you chose the fragile option in a mail system like FedEx, that didn't mean they would take special care of it, but that you admitted that it was fragile and therefore it could be broken without being their fault, leaving you unable to sue them for breaking your package or to ask any reimbursement. While buying a train ticket in Russia, if the train breaks down, don't think of this as a way to get compensation. Consider it a part of the Russian experience. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for more Reddit content.